Welcome back to 33-year-old boomer ranting in his parents' house. PewDiePie made a local AI model. Let's have a look.
The deed is done.
Yes, much like Plato's cave, he has seen the light, he has found the truth, and he's here to share it with us, I guess. Is that the meme? I guess he reads, so I guess that's the meme. I guess that's the joke. Did you get the joke? Did you get the meme? Comment down below and let me know.
I can finally return to this channel because I have done what I said I was going to do. Not that. We will get to that. One thing at a time. I trained my own AI model. Yay! How long has it been? I'm making my own AI. I'm making an orb, my own Palantir. I was hoping to share it by the end of this.
Can I just say, I really envy Felix. In a good way. Not in a way where I want to take what he has, but in a way where I'm inspired by this. And I don't really care about training AI models. That's just, maybe I'll care one day, I just don't right now. But what I envy about this is that he's put himself in a situation where he's hacked the game. Like, he's made so much money that he can just do this stuff. Like, he can just dive deep into any intellectual sort of curiosity he might have, whether it's building that machine that he did with bubblegum, that's held together with bubblegum and duct tape and firmware from random forums. That's definitely not going to cause any problems. But I love the fact that he has enough money that he can just do this. And this is a dream scenario for me, as well as someone with this kind of brain. Someone who's learning stuff constantly. Like right now, not only am I advancing my knowledge of programming, but I'm also writing science fiction books, link down below, and I'm also learning art. I'm on day 10 of 30. I'll make a video in like 20 days showing my progress, where I want to illustrate my own books. And I do this whilst also freelancing and making money that way. And so there is an element of, if I were financially free, if I had a house and enough money that I didn't really have to worry about whatever projects I work on, whether they make money or not, what would I do? What would I do with that time? What would I do with that energy? And he's in such a phenomenal position where he can do this.
Video, but it takes a long time, so I feel like those bears coming out of hibernation. What happened? But the deed is done, and I ran the benchmarks, official AI benchmark, and my model outperforms DeepSeek 2.5, way bigger model than mine.
Well, DeepSeek is just a distilled model, isn't it? They basically trained their model on a bunch of proprietary models, which is funny because the AI companies got mad at DeepSeek for this, even though the AI companies themselves, origin of the data that was used to train the closed source AI models, they don't want to talk about where they got it, right? So, there's all these cases where they just pirated a bunch, like millions of books. It's really funny when someone who's openly just done all this stuff then gets mad that someone does it back at them. And the funny thing is that the Chinese models paid them for this. They paid them they paid for the tokens. So when they created the distilled version of their own model, they paid these companies to do this, whereas the companies themselves just pirated millions of books and never paid anyone anything. So it's kind of funny how that works.
Facebook's flagship model, Llama 4 Maverick, destroyed. And most importantly of all, my model outperforms ChatGPT's 4 in like November or something.
I mean, it's crazy that we're at this point where open models can they're getting so close. Because for most people's uses, GPT-4 is more, like for some people, even like GPT 3.5 would be more than sufficient. Like if all you want is for like the LLM to summarize emails and stuff for you, something like that would work just fine. I wouldn't recommend doing that because they hallucinate. Like I do not run OpenClaw. I don't run anything like that. I wouldn't recommend that you do that unless you really trust these models. But if you really want to do this, an open model would at least theoretically preserve your privacy, assuming it doesn't decide to just delete all your emails, in which case it's really preserving your privacy, isn't it?
This sounds like impressive, but it's way less impressive once we get into it, and we will get into it. It also sounds way less impressive considering the fact that I almost burned down my house twice for this project. It also sounds way less impressive. I lost my sanity for this. Now, I have not created my own AI. I have merely taken an AI model and trained it. It's like stealing a child on the street instead of birthing one myself. It's way more effective that way. Plus, it would cost millions and millions of dollars in infrastructure.
I don't know if it's more effective. It's definitely more efficient. I don't know if effective is the right term.
Which I do not have yet. Am I talking about birthing or... But it's important for you to...
Turns out that you don't need billions to give birth to kids. It's actually quite free.
Understand just how naive I was going into this, because I knew nothing about machine learning, training AI, and coding. Did I mention my model is a coding model? I can make a coding model. Sure, Felix. Great idea. But I also know I wasn't that crazy going into this, and I'll explain why. But mainly the fact that I wanted to do this was because I wanted to learn. The reason
I'd be so careful. As I said before, I'm not a professional developer. I've been exposed to programming since I was 7. I learned Pascal, and of course Pascal doesn't have methods like .sort. So if you learned Pascal, like me in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had to actually learn algorithms. Like I had to learn about bubble sort because there is no, there was no .sort, and I've been programming just like as a hobby. I have a few projects on GitHub. Right now I'm working on a spell checker that I'm building from scratch in C, which I might turn into a grammar sort of checker as well. Because I want to learn, I want to get better, I'm intentionally not looking up any pre-existing algorithms. I know there's like a something mun distance algorithm that you can use to do spell checking that a lot of applications use. But I'm trying to build my own thing because I think it's really fun. And I do use LLMs. However, the way that I use them is as a quick Google search. If I want to look up some syntax, if I want to go, hey, ChatGPT, how do you open a file and see and parse its contents? Oh yeah, of course, cheers. Even though there's arguments that you should actually memorize how to do that. But I'm doing this because I want to learn, I want to get better. And so you want to be so careful with the LLMs because it's so tempting. It's like the ring, there's all this power at your fingertips. And all you have to do is put it on. And so there's value in learning how to do this, how to train this stuff. But if he's learning how to code, he should be careful. Although, interestingly, I seem to remember years ago, because I've been watching PewDiePie for a long time, I seem to remember that he bought a Raspberry Pi like 10 years ago, and he was programming, he was doing Python back then. So did he not do it for a long enough time? Has he forgotten how to do everything? Is he just saying that he's learning to code just for the sake of brevity so he doesn't have to mention this backstory? Curious to know.
Here with this video and the series of events has just been me approaching this philosophy of just, yes, this might be difficult, but I will learn from it. Step by step, that takes you places. And that's why I'm so excited to announce today's sponsor, which is boot.dev.
Okay, that's kind of funny. I've used boot.dev. It's pretty good. Complete transparency. I paid for 1 year. I got a discount from the Primogen. It's a good deal. However, I wish I would have only paid for a couple of months because the things that I wanted to learn from it, I covered within like a month or so. And so I basically paid for 12 months, but I only used it for a month. I could have asked for a refund. I think they have like a no questions asked refund policy. It didn't feel right to do that, so I just didn't do anything about it. But I wish I would have done a monthly subscription as opposed to a yearly subscription. And so it gives you 25% of your first payment. Okay, so if you're going to use something like boot.dev or any of these platforms, you can get very tempted to pay for a year. I wouldn't necessarily do that. I would typically, you're better off doing a few months. And it's purely because, at least if you're like me, you tend to progress at a pretty fast rate. And so all the things that I wanted to do to learn from boot.dev, I basically covered in like a month, maybe two. So bear that in mind.
Boot.dev is a website that teaches you how to code.
The money that I've saved you, donate that to me. Give that to me instead.
But for real. I did their Linux course and it's fantastic. When you actually understand how something works, it changes things for real. It's none of this Duolingo, bada-ba-bing, fake learning, okay? It's fun, it's engaging, and it works. I'm super excited to do their other courses as well.
Also, yeah, they do the whole gamifying thing. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of gamifying learning. I think that I get why people do it. Maybe it's effective. For me, I guess it did push me on a few days where I didn't feel like doing it. I just think that just because something is new and shiny, that doesn't make it better necessarily.
Create your own.
Like sometimes reading the documentation is just far more effective. Like if you want to learn C, you can just read like the actual official C manual. It's actually pretty cool. You don't necessarily have to pay for a course to do that unless you are the kind of person who needs structure, who needs to have their hand held. Nothing wrong with that, and sort of be walked through concepts by someone who already understands it. If that's you, that's fine. But if you're like me, I like to learn stuff by jumping right into a project that I don't understand or that I don't know how to do yet, and just muddling my way through that. And I enjoy the feeling of frustration because I'm bad at the thing, because I really love the feeling of overcoming it and feeling like I've improved. You know, like sometimes it can be tempting to just do things that you already know over and over because it feels good. But the feeling of knowing that you're bad at something and then getting better at it and being able to see the difference is phenomenal. The feeling is amazing. And it's equally as good with art, because I can look at like day 1 and I can look at day 10. I can go, wow, that's pretty good.
AI agent in Python.
Oh God, we're only 2 minutes in.
Of course, I'm gonna say something that makes me sound like such a boomer dad, but I am at this point, so to heck with
I mean, I'm a 33-year-old boomer. He's like 36, so he's up there.
Instead of focusing on gaming too much lately, I've just been focusing on leveling up myself. But it's true. It's such an amazing feeling. And I want you guys to experience.
Yeah, don't worry too much about the economic application of skills. Just learn. Just get better at stuff. It doesn't matter what. Just pick something and get better at it. Even a little bit better. Like, unless he has some master plan that he's not revealing to us, he doesn't necessarily have any direct way to earn money from what he's doing right now. Again, unless he has something behind the scenes that he'll reveal later. I don't know. But you shouldn't necessarily pursue things for their economic value. You should pursue them for the value of the knowledge, because that will enrich you, that will level you up in ways that you don't necessarily understand yet.
It as well, and I think boot.dev is an amazing venture to do so. So
yeah,
check it out in the description, and I will remind you later as well, okay? Now, funny enough, to train my
Maybe boot.dev should give me a referral link.
AI model. Ironically, it works very similar to how you would train yourself on boot.dev. There's an instruction of a problem, you get a framework on how to initiate or what to use, and then there's a validated answer at the end of it. Basically, I gathered around 100,000 samples like that, and then you feed.
Wait, so
similar to how you would train yourself on boot.dev. There's an instruction of a problem, you get a framework on how to initiate or what to use, and then there's a validated answer.
Okay, so they're doing unit tests behind the scenes. So the way that you do these benchmarks, I'm guessing, I don't know, based on what he's saying, is that you basically have a unit test, so you have input, you run this input for the code that is generated by the LLM, and then if the output matches, then good. However, if this is the case, the question is, would the LLM cheat? In other words, is the LLM aware of the output? Like when you give it the input, does it know what the output should be? Because if it does, that's a problem. So that should be separated from, that knowledge should not be held within the LLM. Now you might say, well, it's not, it's a different module, it's something completely different. The LLM doesn't have access to the desired output. And that's fine, unless that stuff is in its training data. And how would you know if it is or isn't? And so what happens if the model has the output already in its training data? Like, it could have the solution in the training data, that's not cheating. But if it has the input and the output and the problem already in the training data, unless you're very closely monitoring all these unit tests, and if it's doing hundreds of thousands of them, I don't think you are, then what happens if occasionally it writes a program like, hey, it gives me 5. It expects me to do factorial of 5. Obviously, it's just a very basic example. It wants me to do 5 factorial. But I know, like I already know what it wants, so I'm just going to literally just output the number without writing the actual code. Does that make sense? I wonder if they do that. That'd be pretty funny. It'd be a very human-like thing to do.
At the end of it. Basically, I gathered around 100,000 samples like that, and then you feed that to the model, which slightly nudges its parameters, like it slightly probably nudges your brain, and bada bing, bada boom, you have trained your model. It's kind of like this. Your AI, look at this. Are you learning? Are you getting this?
Man, I need to have kids already. If there are any women in chat who are like high functioning autistic, who maybe you like computers, maybe you don't. I don't know what you're doing here if you don't like computers, but whatever. You know, if you want to like have a bunch of kids and live on a homestead in the forest and have like 10 kids and homeschool them, and we can raise them wild and free, let me know.
You will look at these. You will look at 100,000 more. Pay attention.
Also, Felix, what are you doing? Have more kids. Why do you only have one kid? He's lovely, but have more kids, man. What are you doing? You're fiddling about with AIs. Have more kids, man.
This might take a while. The model that I used was Gwen32B, which is already amazing at coding, but I needed it to be amazing at coding in this format. The whole reason I decided to do this and where I landed, because I discovered something. There are many ways to benchmark and test your model. I discovered there's one.
What does this kind of look like? Is this from Attack on Titan? Have I seen this in Attack on Titan? Is there a meme where one of the Titans sort of bends over like that? I think there is.
Called Aider Polyglot. If you remember last video, I used the agent Aider to code my own web UI. This is a respectable benchmark that tests coding in 6 different languages.
Oh man,
that's 6 more languages than I know. But what was interesting about this is that state-of-the-art models like ChatGPT perform
also, what does he mean, like
coding in 6 different
like Felix, you can learn Python in like 6 hours. Like it's not its entirety. Obviously there's a bunch of libraries and stuff, but like you can learn, you can get a solid grasp of Python in like 6 hours. Like C++ is more complicated, right? JavaScript's pretty easy as well. Java's more complicated. Just learn, if you want to learn Python, just learn Python. You can learn Python in 1% of the time that it took you to put this thing together.
Languages. That's 6 more languages than I know. But what was interesting about this is that state-of-the-art models like ChatGPT perform like garbage on this benchmark. 18.2%? What? My model that I was planning to train on performs 8%.
trash. But it performs 16% if you use a different format called whole format instead of diff format. Basically, there's two different formats, but one of them is important. How do I explain this?
It's basically like this. You draw a picture, okay? Imagine you draw a picture and you want to add a cloud. But instead of just adding the fucking cloud, you redraw the entire picture with the cloud. It makes no fucking sense.
I mean, that's how a lot of AI coding works. Also, why does it have a willy now?
But basically, a lot of these models, they struggle to understand the format of just editing in the code instead of just writing the whole thing. It's just stupid. It wastes compute and it wastes time, and I never used it as well. So I thought, hey, if I can just fix the format, I will make my model 16%, and that will almost beat ChatGPT. The goal, beat ChatGPT. Easy.
Also, can I just appreciate the fact that this is correct use of the POV meme? Because if you ever go on Instagram, which I wouldn't recommend you do, but if you ever go on Instagram, you're going to see a lot of people use the POV meme wrong. This is used correctly because POV, your ChatGPT. So this is your POV as ChatGPT, and Markiplier is about to beat you up. So you're about to get beaten. And this is the correct use of the POV meme. I'm just saying, I appreciate whenever I see correct use of this meme.
GPT. Easy! Because what I had on my side, at my disposal, my arsenal, was Chinese AI research. You'd think China would be on the more censorship side of things. At least that's what I thought. How wrong I was. It's completely the opposite. DeepSeek Chinese AI basically just released their model for anyone to run, and a whole document with their entire training process in great detail. It's amazing. There's so much information from these research documents combined with the open source community. There's so much to try, and it just makes you really want to try it yourself. At least that's how I saw it, even though a lot of it was super advanced and I didn't understand anything. Eventually I did, I think. It's also hilarious reading these documents. Chinese AI researchers are unironically comedians because they write the most unhinged shit. They say shit like, oh, we trained our model on 2048 GPUs. And you're like, what? That's like $60 million. And you keep reading and they're like, we emphasize this is an economical approach. I'm like, economical? What's the non-economical version?
Spending billions on doing it, I guess.
But I think that kind of puts things in perspective and why a lot of companies in the West, they don't want to share information. So with Chinese AI research on my side and a boot dev course, I was ready to do this thing. Now, what do you need to train AI? Data. Now, how do you get data without sacrificing your soul?
Yeah, this is referencing the, I guess this is to do with print books.
In the process? Well, there is options, believe it or not. You can mine the stack, which is this 60 terabyte data set that you're allowed to train on. Good thing I kept my hard drives around. You can use publicly available data sets. You can also mine Git, which is a little more of a gray zone because you have to check for licenses, which I'm sure everyone is doing, right?
You see, this isn't even about just the licenses. It's like when I do my writing, I use Git. At the end of the day, I do a Git commit so that I essentially have like, so I have some version control on my writing. And it also helps me keep track of like the number of words that I've written and blah, blah. And I just do this locally. I just have Git, and I would love to have an extra backup where I get to push this to GitHub and just put it in a private repo. But the problem is that I just don't trust these companies not to train their stuff on my data. Because if they say that they don't train stuff on the private data, and I'm not saying that they do, but I'm saying, how would I know if they were? And so, same thing here, like how many of these companies are actually checking the licenses?
These big tech companies, they're being super ethical and great about it, I'm sure. That's why they're not sharing any information. And you can also synthesize your data. Glorious synthetic data. So tastes so good. I tried every single method there is. It's been a mess. This is scraping Git for enriching my data. This is scraping for more data. This is running testing on the data. And this is augmenting the data. And this is my 8 LLMs. This is the level we reached. This project was kind of like, I was like in the middle of a freeway and there's a bunch of cars that I have to direct constantly because shit had to move for this to finish. Everything took so much time and my GPUs had to constantly be cooking. And I had to do all this makeup, cosmetic surgery to the data because all these developers writing poor, lazy. First of all, why do you even publish some of that? Lazy instructions. Don't make a commit if you're just gonna add a comment. But finally, I had my data, but I still knew.
How am I gonna keep my GitHub streak if I don't commit every day?
I needed more. And I also wanted to try out synthetic generation of data, which is basically, you typically take the strongest model that you have and you ask it, hey, look at this, make more in this format. And my God.
Also, can I just say I'm still feeling under the weather? I'm not feeling great today. But if PewDiePie is gonna do a computer nerd video, listen, I gotta milk it for views. Why would you even have a channel on YouTube if you're not gonna milk PewDiePie videos for views?
It was a beautiful thing. Mwah. You get the perfect data, exactly the way you want it. It's amazing. But the problem is, and maybe you already know this, AI is wrong all the fucking time. Okay, it's basically like this.
That's true.
I tell AI.
It's my main gripe with AI. It's people keep saying, "Oh, Christian, you're so anti-AI." It's like not really. If you have a tool and it works, use it, but don't use it to your detriment. Don't be fooled by the hype. Don't just think, "Oh, makes me so much faster. I'm a 1000x developer using this." It's like, yeah, okay.
AI. My drawing skills have really, I'm sure.
I was actually inspired by his art video where he did 30 days and then like a year or something. And the interesting thing is I don't think, no shade to Felix, he's a very talented man, but it would appear that when he did his drawing video, he didn't necessarily learn the basics well. I think he just kind of copied a lot of anime that he likes, which is fine. But I think he kind of circumvented some of the fundamentals, which is why these drawings aren't great.
Glad I learned how to draw. I tell AI, make a burger by showing him a burger. And then AI makes what looks like a burger, but I open the lid and he put razor blades in there.
Classic. Don't you love it when AI gives you like code and you go, hey, this will just like delete all my data, and it goes, nice catch, sweating emoji. Your robot delivers you a burger, it just has razor blades. Hey, this would kill me. Oh, nice catch. Hey, you're so smart.
So, my harness is a burger eater. To check that if real burgers are made instead of fake burgers.
So is the harness the thing that does the unit tests then? Is that what I'm hearing? Any AI nerds in the comments, let me know.
I think I explained that pretty well. You lied to me! My synthetic approach, I know that most people don't care. I use OSS Instruct from Magic Coder and Evol Instruct, which is an amazing method. It's basically like that cloning dancing guy technique. You feed a code snippet and then you say, hey, make it into this format, and also do another one, but make it more advanced. I don't want to get into it. This technical, it doesn't matter. This video will take forever. But the problem I had was I was not getting enough of it. And I don't trust, okay? I don't trust like that, okay? So I validated it. I kept thinking the problem was my test harness. So I needed to fix that. What an idiot! That just made it so I passed more garbage. So when the time came for me to finally train my model, after months, I was so excited. I ran the benchmark and I had made an AI model that finally, that was worse. I had made it worse.
classic
I probably should have quit then. But I am way too stubborn for that. I just can't. I don't have it in me. I can't do it. This is when you realize AI is kind of like magic, right? But it also isn't. Garbage data in, garbage data out. There was a lot of issues with my data. When I had fixed my harness, I had just let more garbage data pass through. There was also all these other issues like empty white spaces and classic coding issues that I just wasn't aware about. So that's why I had made it worse. But I gave it another attempt. And this time, no more mistakes. No more dilly-daddling. Lock in. Again, the model is worse. It was my harness yet again. I don't know why I got so stuck on this fucking thing.
So did he have poor unit tests? Is that what I'm hearing? Because I'm assuming that's what the harness is.
I didn't even need synthetic data. I just wanted it to work. I just wanted it to work so bad. Finally, I had fixed the fucking thing and the benchmark came in 16%. Sometimes 15, sometimes 14, but 16 was the highest. The model is just not going to solve the same problem every time. It just doesn't work like that. There is a level of randomness to it, to the benchmark performance, but 16 was the ceiling, and that makes sense because that...
Which makes you wonder how many times these benchmarks are run to achieve these numbers.
That was the ceiling in the official whole format or whatever, and I had fixed it so it's in the diff format, but I had not made a fucking difference. I had not made the model smarter, and remember, I need to beat 18% to say that I beat ChatGPT. Otherwise, this means nothing. So, my plan of attack was to add reasoning to my data. Adding reasoning to your data is basically making it write out some thinking before it solves the problem. Instead of doing 2 plus 2 in your head, you go, oh, okay, so let me break this down. So I'll have 2 apples, and then if I add 2 more apples...
Man, I've used a bunch of local models, testing them out, playing with them. The reasoning aspect of them is kind of annoying. Like you'll just watch it overthink the problem over and over, and then it gives you the answer. I would run this on an M1, on a fairly spec'd out M1 MacBook Pro, and it's just like this is a simple yes or no answer. Why do I have to sit through 16 paragraphs of you bugging out about this before you give me the actual answer?
And then I count them all together, then I will have 4. This is really effective for complicated issues to break down the problem into parts, and it really can improve the performance of the AI. But when it's simple questions and it still does it, it can be very, very irritating as well. You've probably seen this actually if you use stronger.
This is turning into a dance video. Who said white boys don't have moves, eh?
AI model. A lot of times you ask it questions and it goes, oh, absolutely. Well, let's break this down into parts. First, we're gonna, and you're like, that was a simple yes or no question. What do you mean? But it's a really effective way to make your model solve problems more accurately. And a lot of these smaller open source models that I train on struggle with this because they just haven't been trained on it enough. So that was my plan of attack to make.
I do wonder if these AI companies, I wonder if they're regretting releasing these open models because they're still not as good as the frontier models, but they're kind of getting there.
Make my model smarter, and I found a study that showed that 10% in performance. I'm like, 10%? That's way more than I need, baby. Let's just clone this Git repo and get going. The only problem was, of course, that the ungodly level of computation that was needed for this. And that's when things were starting to smell funny. I realized my room had this weird aura to it all of a sudden. Hey, I swear it didn't used to smell like.
Yes, it's the healthy smell. That's what you want your room to smell like.
That. So I decided to reboot my computer, and lightning strikes all across it. Smoke starts pouring out. My whole life flashed before my eyes. I turn off the computer, but the damage was done. One of my GPUs had died. Rest in peace. I tested each one by one, and it seemed like everything else was okay. It was just this one problem. And looking at my purchase history, that...
Man, running that rig is kind of interesting, but isn't he a minimalist? Isn't that the whole bowl meme? I mean, I'm kind of a sort of minimalist myself. I like books. I have a bunch of books, but I don't know, like I travel 6 months out of the year, and I do so with a backpack and a small luggage. I wouldn't even want to own a rig like this, because it would be such like I already have to have 2 laptops, one for my freelancing and one for my personal work. Like, like having, oh no, that rig is interesting, but I would not want to deal with the headache of owning that.
One GPU came from a different factory. You have to understand what a hack job this setup that I have is, okay? It's bifurcated, it's undervolted to death. This GPU's run on 450 watt, I run it on 175 watt, just so my house wouldn't fucking crash every time. And then these are hacked Chinese 4090 GPUs.
White boy moves.
This whole thing is held together by prayers. Literally. In Japan, they sell these prayer-infused IT badges. Where is it? It's in front of my computer.
Huh?
An official Japanese priest. I probably have now blessed my...
I mean, I used to work in IT. I also find that putting plastic, like just random bits of plastic, into a very crowded machine full of GPUs is also, I also think that's a very good idea. It's a very good thing to do.
Computer, and I was ready.
You might say that the plastic might cause overheating issues and fire risk. However, the power of the prayers completely overpowers the fire risk.
To give it another shot. Only for the smell to appear again. After sniffing my GPUs like a maniac, I concluded my GPUs was not the problem this time. And eventually, I found it.
Nice.
I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Again, I was using a cable that was graded for 1500 watt. I was running over 2000. Changed cable, we were good to go. My computer kept crashing still.
Oh, it's still... Thought it crashed. It has crashed. Oh, fuck. What a pile of...
You'd think training would be just this straightforward thing, but it's really...
I wonder how many people paused at this precise moment for an unreasonably long amount of time. Also, why does it hover like that? That's kind of weird. Is PewDiePie AI? What's going on here? Strange.
You'd think training would be just this straightforward thing, but it's really not. It's taking too long to train. I need more compute, okay? What am I gonna do? It's not my fault. I know what you're thinking. Felix, are you building another computer? No, I am just extending the one I have. Of course. Of course, I'm an epic minimalist.
He's just gonna end up with like a mega server rack.
I had to steal the circuit from my bathroom and I drilled the hole.
Like 3 videos from now, he's gonna be like, I'm building my own data center.
It's
sponsored by GamerSups. Wouldn't that be crazy? It's just like a massive data center in Japan with like, what is it, the one of the anime girls from GamerSups just on the front of it.
super heavy on your computer, and every time it crashes, I have to fucking defibrillate it back, bring it back from a coma. It's not pleasant. With everything that had happened in the past, extremely stressful, and I really started doubting what the fuck I'm doing here for these 2%. I started calling upon DeepSeek API because it's...
No, I get it. Sometimes the autism calls, and you just have to do it. Sometimes you just have no choice what to do. I totally get that.
Practically for free, and eventually I had 15,000 samples, which is way less than I had aimed for, but these were the top of the top, the creme de la creme samples that I have, with the most beautifully crafted step-by-step reasoning the world has ever seen. I did my supervised fine-tuning, 3 epochs, and I ran the benchmark, and it scored 17. Are you fucking kidding me? But as I mentioned, the performance is kind of random. So I kept running the benchmark. I had eventually given up, but I had done one more just for the fuck of it, and I noticed, holy shit, this one is having like a god run. It's at 40%. What is happening? It drops to 30. I'm like, hold, please hold. It drops to 25. It drops to 20, and it finally finishes all the exercises in the benchmark. It is done at 19.6%. I have beat ChatGPT! It felt so goddamn good.
Congratulations.
Stop! Don't listen to this guy. The benchmark is invalid. I did not check for contamination before the benchmark. Basically, if you grab data all across the internet, there's a high chance that you're gonna grab data that might already exist in a benchmark somewhere. So you have to check for contamination. I didn't check for contamination. I didn't want to check for contamination. But my stupid conscience was like, oh, I should probably do it.
So is this what I was talking about earlier, where the data itself contains the answers to the unit tests?
I was backing up, going through my data for the gazillionth time, and I realized there was some contamination. It's not a huge deal, but it's like, if I just am honest, whatever, to me it's not good enough, and I want to clear out my data, and I'm gonna retrain again, benchmark again, and I'm hoping, and I think it will still give me the same result because it's such small contamination. I'm kind of worried because I'm running out of time. Have I done fuck all this entire time? Have I achieved nothing this entire time and the whole thing was a hocus pocus? That's what I thought. So this time I went all out. I trained on my entire data set. Previously, I trained on a small subset of what I thought was my best data because it takes forever to train.
Can I just... Is he not using the audio from the little handheld mic?
Forever.
Because the audio doesn't change whenever he moves it around. I think what happened. This is video editor speaking. I think what happened is the audio was terrible, and they just defaulted to the phone audio, or maybe they had a secondary mic set up to pick up the audio. Because if you pay attention to when he moves his hand around, pay attention to the audio.
Out. I trained on my entire data set. Previously, I trained on a small subset of what I thought was my best data.
Like, there's a small difference whenever he's here and here. There's a small difference. But the difference should be a lot larger than that.
Because it takes forever to train. It takes forever. It takes days, weeks. And since I reached the score of 19.6, I was like, I'm done. But not... Then I made another discovery. I was training on the wrong model. A major update. I'm watching my video. This guy. I'm giving feedback to my editor. And I'm like, hold on. What is that? That is not the coder version. That's the regular version. Have I been training on the wrong version this entire time?
I'm guessing yes.
Oh. So maybe this has all been a blessing in disguise, because I feel like with these two things in mind, I should beat ChatGPT. I should, but we will know in a couple days. Did I beat ChatGPT?
Probably not. Not
well,
yet, at least.
I trained on the coding model, and the first score, 4.4%. I don't know what the fuck happened. I can probably think of 5 things, but I don't care to figure it all out.
It's like, but if he was doing coding unit tests, how was he getting better results before?
It's gonna take forever. I just retrained again, and the model score, 25%, baby. I have not just beat ChatGPT, I beat ChatGPT twice. Their August shitty version as well. I was so relieved. I was like, thank God. But I made another discovery. It's not over. A third of the benchmark was not even running. C++ and JavaScript just wasn't being tested properly. So I fixed the benchmark, I run it again, and the final score, 36%, baby. This means I also beat Google Schmoogle's thing.
Isn't that almost exactly his age as well?
as well. And I think I beat 4.1 or something. I don't know. ChatGPT. It's a massacre out here. You're being destroyed. It's embarrassing. OpenAI stock just demolished. Just quit already. This is what pops the AI bubble. This. But I was like, there are still issues. I'm gonna do some post training. 1,500 samples. Splinky, blinky, 5 epochs. And I ran the benchmark again. Pure decontaminated, let it be known. Purer than the fountain of youth. 39.1%, baby. Another destroy. I think this one I beat Google Schmoogle. Where's the stupid benchmark? Yeah, Gemini Pro. You guys pay for that? I did not think this would even ever come close. But here's the embarrassing part about all of this. I train on Gwen 2.5, but Gwen 3 is out, and it scores 40%. So unless I beat 40%, this means nothing. And I'm out of time. I don't have fucking time. I need to send this video to my editor. Yes, there was one more thing. A model being good at one benchmark is stupid as fuck, okay? I need to test this model on other benchmarks as well. I want to test it on Swebench, all these other coding benchmarks. Unless it improving that, I don't even know. I am just out of time, okay? I don't have time to do it, but I will. And if this model ever gets to a point where I feel like it's good enough, I would love to share it. But I think if anything, I might just move on to a different project in the background because it takes a long time and I'm kind of tired. That being said, you've seen me fail a lot in this video. I have become so accustomed to failure, you have no idea. I've almost given up on this project so many times. There are so many times where I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is the stupidest thing ever. I have graveyards full of just garbage, debunkle, schmunkle, deformed data that I have generated thinking, this is the best. I have gone through the whole alphabet of failures. I was just so way in over my head on this project. But I think the number one thing I've learned, how do I explain this? When you install Linux, here's what happens. Linus Torvalds, the creator, becomes your godfather, inevitably. And I was watching one of a random video of him talking.
Can I just say, isn't it crazy how many specifically Swedish and Finnish people have contributed to computer science? And he's technically both, so...
And he was talking about how he's doing this project and he was failing, but that's okay because that's how you learn.
Yes.
Some people think that failure is a bad thing, and I happen to be one of those people who actually enjoy doing things I'm not good at.
My dude, my man, Linus Torvalds, let's go. Yes, do things you're not good at. That's how you improve, by the way. Fun fact.
Because it's how you learn.
And I'm watching that and I'm like, he's speaking to me right now. Oh my God. But I really feel like that.
Like, you need to be comfortable feeling like an idiot. It's a feeling that never goes away, no matter how many skills, no matter how many skills you have. When you're learning a new skill and there's that period where you feel like an absolute imbecile before you get to the period where you feel overconfident because you don't know what you don't know yet. The bit where you're struggling because you're learning something new is invaluable. That's where the learning happens, where you fail constantly and you feel like a dum-dum. Hey, dum-dum, do you not know how to do this? Do you not know how, that's the bit where you really learn.
That's the main thing I've learned from all this, because there's so much to learn from failure. Learn from it and reiterate and keep working. I think if you have expectations of how things should go for yourself, you're just gonna get disappointed and you're gonna wanna give up. So expect to fail, embrace failing. That's the message I wanna send out to you kids. Last thing, this is a coding model, and I think a lot of people are looking at coding models like, are they gonna replace? And I saw Linus say this as well, and it was basically saying coding models, if anything, it will just bring in more people interested in learning how to code. Again, he's speaking to me right now. Like, I would never have wanting to learn how to code if it wasn't for AI coming into the picture. So on the final note, learn something new, check out boot.dev.
Okay. I think my takeaway out of this is that I really, really envy his position, and that I want it too. I want to have this position where I have a house and I have very low bills, and I can just do things all day that are interesting to me, and I don't have to worry about what is the economic output of this? I think he's in such a dream position to do something like this. And so far he's doing good. Now I have a question for you, the viewer. You, my fellow autist traveler, tell me, if you were in his position, if you just had, like, all your money was sorted, you never had to make $1 for the rest of your life, what kind of stuff would you build? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.